All right, October 30th. Welcome to another episode of Stand Tall, everybody. We are in the Art of War, Chapter 1. All warfare is based on deception, is what we just covered. Then, verse 18. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. And when we are far away, we must make him believe that we are near. 19 says, hold out baits to entice the enemy, feign disorder, and then crush him. Okay, so let's go over to the alternate translation to glean a little bit more insight. So on the last one in the translation, it basically says like a military operation involves deception. Even though you are competent, appear incompetent; though effective, appear ineffective. And then we had all the guys for like 2 pages talk about that. Then Master Sun says, when you are going to attack nearby, make it look as if you were going to go a long way. When you're going to attack far away, make it look as if you are going to go just a short distance. Li Quan says this is to cause the opponent to be unprepared. Master Sun says then, draw them in with the prospect of gain. Take them by confusion. Mei Yao Chen says that if they are greedy, lure them with goods. Zhang Yu says, show them a little prospect of gain to lure them, then attack to overcome them. When the enemy is confused, you can use this opportunity to take them, says Dumu. Jialin says, I would have crafty interlopers confuse them, then wait for them to fall into disarray in order to take them. Interlopers. Zhang Yu says, use deception to throw them into confusion. Lead them on in order to take them. When the states of Wu and Yue were at war with each other, Wu sent out 3,000 criminals to give an appearance of disorder so as to lure Yue. Okay. Some of the criminals ran, some of them gave up. The Yu army fought with them, only to be defeated by the army of Wu. So, sorry, I mangled a bunch of words there, but essentially, I think this shows a lot of like kind of the deception that you need to be using in your everyday life is that if people are either selling to you and trying to take advantage, take into account these tactics of the deception. I'm not saying like draw them in and talk to them for hours for the heck of it, but if you're doing business with somebody, or maybe you're about to enter into a contract with somebody new and you find out something about like the prospect of gain to take them by confusion, like maybe find out what their intentions are. I would say like this is most akin to what the natural day phenomenon is called, is like gold diggers, and like all these rap stars saying like no new friends and that sort of thing. But on a personal level, on just like an everyday person level, you have to be careful about who's trying to sell you certain products that you may not need, at an extravagant price. And then also just being careful about who you enter into contracts with, because you've got to find out what their intentions are. And if their intentions aren't revolving around what your intentions are, and it is one of the bad things like greed or malice or anger or revenge or just any of like the quote unquote 7 deadly sins. So instead of you just got to weed out the bad actors. You've just got to keep being a good person yourself no matter what. Even if you appear on the outside not to be a good person just to protect your inner self, that's fine. But protect yourself from those who show the 7 major fallacies, right? So let's go over to the Daily Stoic, October 30th, and see how we can stand tall with Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman alongside Sun Tzu and his generals. October 30th, who gets the lion's share? Stephen Hanselman and Ryan Holiday. Aren't you ashamed to reserve for yourself only the remnants of your life and to dedicate to wisdom only that time can't be directed to business? Seneca, on the brevity of life, 3.5b. Aren't you ashamed to reserve for yourself only the remnants of your life and to dedicate to wisdom only that time can't be directed to business? In one of his letters, Seneca tells a story about Alexander the Great. Apparently, as Alexander was conquering the world, certain countries would offer him pieces of their territory in hopes that he'd leave them alone in exchange. Alexander would tell them, writes Seneca, that he hadn't come all the way to Asia to accept whatever they would give him, but instead they were going to have to accept whatever he chose to leave them. According to Seneca, we should treat philosophy the same way in our lives. Philosophy shouldn't have to accept what time or energy is left over from other occupations, but instead we should graciously make time for those other pursuits only once our study is finished. So basically, like, do your homework first, then go play video games. If real self improvement isn't what we're after, why do we leave our reading into those few minutes before we shut off the lights and go to bed? Why do we block off 8 to 10 hours in the middle of the day to be at the office or to go to meetings, but block out no time for thinking about the big questions? The average person somehow manages to squeeze in 28 hours of television per week, but ask them if they had time to study philosophy, and they will probably tell you they're too busy. I mean, I think that's just important to remember in today's modern age. Like, we have so much time available to get back because of technology, like thanks to television, thanks to YouTube. And it's even, the lines are even more crossed these days because what kind of shorts are you watching? You know, what kind of videos are you consuming, right? Because if we are the people, if we are our friends in the books we read, right? If that's who we become, then today it's like, you know, we are the shorts that we watch and the people we hang out with digitally. I mean, today's digital landscape is so full of, you know, just the cesspool of troll, you know, the inner self that's just the evil person. And it's not evil necessarily, but like this side of you that's been so repressed for so long because of civilization, it just gets to like come out like with its fangs out on the internet. And I'm guilty of it. I mean, I'm the first person to tell you that like I was a huge troll back when 4chan and B and all of that was going around. And the early days of the internet, I mean, that's like what it was. It was like there's nothing real on the internet. And now that's changed, right? So as we go forward, you know, are you taking the opportunity to utilize this technology, right? I think of apps like Blinkist, which sum up books that I'm looking at books trying to, you know, think of which ones. But like you can download this app and get all the bite-sized chunks out of a book that you need. And it's like you can laugh at that and say like, well, why not read the actual book? And it's like, well, how many times have we heard guys like Tim Ferriss and Alex Hormozy say like it's okay not to finish a book, like don't keep wasting your time. If like there's one book I started about starting up a company, and it was like all about tech upstarts and everything like that. It had nothing to do with any of the companies I started. So it's like there's no point to this because like I don't need to do an A/B test. I don't need to do all of this marketing stuff. Like I don't have those kinds of products. And so like even though the author tried very hard to like kind of make it as general as possible, it doesn't change the fact that like the lean startup is not a book for every single business owner, no matter what. I mean, you can glean some stuff from it, but the truth of the matter is there's better resources. But that's besides the point. What's on point today is that while we go through life, and my personal strategy, yes, like I play video games, but like I make sure I do my homework first. It's something that I taught myself a long time ago, and I think that it's been a very important discipline. So just like Sun Tzu says, you know, be strong when you are weak, weak when you are strong, and feign all of this deception. You know, I do like to feign that I'm not as smart as I like to be because I do like people to leave me alone, and I do like to carve out that time to think per se. And like if I do want to spend an hour or two playing video games or watching TV, I don't have to feel guilty about it. But keeping it disciplined is what keeps you standing tall, right? Being able to play, in my case, 2 games of Apex for under 45 minutes and then getting off to read a book, write, whatever. That's what we all should be doing. We should, whether it be a TV show, a video game, a box of cookies or Cheez-Its. You know, it's just about discipline. And alongside that discipline comes a life well lived. And I think that's what we're striving for as we keep standing tall.